Hey there everyone, Captain BEARDZ here, bringing you another Langrisser mobile video. Let's get it. Alright, so before we get into today's video, just some quick mentions about yesterday's Fire Dragon video that I did. I know some of you guys were saying you're level 59, so you should be crushing this event, or you have better units, so why not use your better units. The only reason why I went pure Princess Alliance team is just because I want to show people that, hey, you can have such great units, but you don't have to use them. You can use some other units to your disposal. Like a lot of people would say, don't use Freya, what are you doing? Use your Leon instead, or things like that. But guess what? You know, I used Freya and I was still able to beat the Fire Dragon. And yes, I'm level 59, but being the account level has no bearings on your actual characters. So you can be level 49 and have a very strong level 50 character that has level 59 stats. So it really doesn't matter. It really comes down to equipment and power level and things of that nature, and then enchantments too, because if your enchantments are weak, then your equipment's kind of going to be weak, and if your equipment is lower level, then that stuff too. So that all takes effect, and the reason why I just used the Princess Alliance yesterday is just because I know my princesses are a little bit on the lower level side. So I just wanted to show you guys, hey, you know, you can still do it even at a lower level. You don't have to run Leon and Leiden and Elwyn and Sephiroth and Cherry. You don't need to run those beastly units to beat the 50 dragon. Yeah, you might need to be a higher level, but you can still do it. So that's was the point of yesterday's video. And then just to give you a little bit of a guide, like, hey, you know, if you kind of stay away from the dragon a little bit, you won't be able to get hit by his very strong AoE move. So that was the point of yesterday's video, and I just wanted to make mention of that to clear a few things up. But anyways, guys, let's go ahead and get into this video here. Alright, the Empire Honors team, or Empire's Honor, I should say. Now, this team is probably my second favorite team in the game, next to the, I say it's tied for, because I really do like the Origins of Light team. I feel like my Diehard and my Juggler are very, very strong units right now, so I have been using them quite a bit, and I do like them a lot. But the reason why my Leon, obviously he's level 60, he's my strongest unit, is just because I do like to use Leon by himself. So I'll throw him on any of the teams and just carry him forward. But besides that, this team nonetheless is still a very powerful team. A lot of people consider this team the PvP team. I think that's a lie. I think you can use this team in PvE just fine. You know, you just have to play your cards right and just be smart about a few things. But other than that, let's go into the list here. Alright, so the first unit we're going to go over is going to be, we're going to do the opposite of the Princess faction buff team. We're going to go over the fusion power holders, right? So the two fusion power holders are going to be Bernhardt and Leon. Now, a lot of people will say go with Bernhardt's just because, so that way Leon can carry his own skills. The thing about Bernhardt's fusion power though, that I have a giant problem with is the buff is good, and then by 20% when battling against units over which you have class priority, you get 20% damage increase, right? That's really good, but you got to think about it. The majority of the time you might not have priority over some units, so that becomes a little bit of an issue, especially with Leon. You know, if Leon is about to go and attack a flyer, you're not going to get 20% increased damage. You don't have class priority against a flyer. Leon has to attack a red unit in order to get priority. And then if you're using the angels, that makes it even worse, because then your soldiers are not going to get that priority either, so you don't get that full buff there. But besides that, just talking about the heroes here, yeah, so that becomes a little bit of an issue. I mean, if you are fighting a lot of reds and you're using your Leon, then yeah, his fusion power is definitely the way to go. But in the cases of some of the dragons, like the Fire Dragon has no weakness, his fusion power does absolutely nothing for Leon but give him the just direct buff. So that is something to understand. And then you got Leon's fusion power, which is the Imperial Charge. Now you got your normal buff. Now, I like Leon's over Bernhardt's. The reason why is when attacking, damage dealt increases by 5% for every 1 block moved before battle, up to 15%. Now this is not going to give you 20% like Bernhardt's, but the thing about it is it's going to be a consistent damage, right? So if you pop Leon's fusion power here and then you move Elwyn 3 blocks and then attack, he's going to get 15% increased damage. He doesn't have to wait for, oh, he has to attack a green unit, oh, he has to attack that green unit over there. Nope, he can just move 3 blocks, attack any unit, and he'll be able to do that damage. Same thing with Seth, everybody on the Empire Honors team pretty much. So very, very good, and I feel like this is a much better fusion power than Bernhardt's when you just need that consistent damage. If you're fighting a lot of colors and you can adjust your units accordingly, then yes, Bernhardt's is a lot better because 20% can go a long way. But just you gotta be really smart. So both really good. And when I say if I was to choose one between the two, I would have to go with Leon's just because I feel like I have consistent damage here. All I have to do is move a few blocks and I'm going to get that. So I do like the Imperial Charge a little bit better. And it goes with Leon's talent here pretty well. So when every 1 block move, damage increases by 2%. So stacked with his Imperial Charge, that can he can do some serious damage when he's moving around. And even with Bernhardt, so they're both very solid. Okay, let's not upgrade the class. They're both very solid units, and definitely between the two, I would say Leon, but definitely close to being tied. All right, so next we're going to be looking at the tanks. Now, you technically have, let's see, 1, 2, 3. I don't know if Lard is considered a tank. And I don't know if Roga is considered a tank either. Right, so we'll go over the 3 that I know are tanks. Alright, and then you guys can tell me in the comments below if any of these units down here, I know Anna's not a tank, but if Lard and Roga are considered tanks. And I think Lance is also a tank. Well, we'll pass over him we'll probably glance over him real quick. So for the tanks, you got Elwyn, Alt, and Vargas. So the true tanks, I believe, are going to be Alt and Vargas. Let's go take a look at Elwyn real quick. Now Elwyn, you can run him as a tank, this Grand Marshal state. So General into Grand Marshal. Now when you do run him Grand Marshal, do note, okay, so he's not a true tank. Do know as a Grand Marshal, Elwyn is going to, you're going to be able to put him out there and he is going to take the shots. But he will not jump in front of other units for you like Alt and Varg. So that is something to understand when trying to run a tank. So I'm actually going to remove Elwyn from the tank spot just because he's not truly considered a tank. So we got Alt and Varg. So Alt is considered a tank, and because you could go General and see as soon as you go General, it takes a physical attack instead of a nearby friendly unit. So boom, right there. He already has the tankish ability here, and then he gets a little bit more here with strong arm. Now, Alt is a very strong tank, and I see a lot of people run him as the flying tank. So what they'll do is they'll open up the Grand Marshal path, pick up some of these buffs, pick up strong arm and the strategic master or tactical mastery fusion power, and then take them to the Grand Master and run different things as a Grand Master, such as like reinforcement to keep them consistently healed. Or if you're feeling risky, you can go with Gale. So he'll be a flying tank, which is beastly, and I mean beastly. So that tankish setup there is extremely strong, and set up with just his base stats, which are really good, by the way. So he can make a very strong tank for you, and just have him jump in front of shots like no tomorrow. He can do some serious work for you. Now Varg is said to be the greatest tank in the game. Obviously I have no equipment on mine because I'm always switching off equipment. Yeah, another thing too, guys, if my power level is low, is because I work on so many units. So that's why, you know, I'm kind of expanded on all my units. So something to think about before you go ahead and criticize my power level. But besides that, Varg said to be the best tank in the game. He jumps in front of shots. He takes a lot of damage. He has a defense of an S rating defense, which is really high. And then on top of that, when you kill him, he actually comes back to life. So he is a very, very solid tank, and I take nothing from him. But that's all he offers, is just really just tanking. You could take him down the red route, but I highly I don't recommend that at all. So there's nothing really more to say about Varg. I mean, just the fact that he really just tanks, and that's about it. I mean, yeah, he doesn't really bring nothing more to the table than just your base tank ability and then that revive. And of course, yes, I know you can build him and make him do some strong attacks and stuff like that, but still at the end of the day, he's just gonna tank your shots. Let's go glance over Lance real quick here. Lance, do you tank? Lance is not a tank. Alright, so good to know. Alright, so if there's any other tanks that I missed, please comment down below and let me know. But besides that, it's really going to be between Alt and Varg. And my recommendations is, if you pull Alt, then just focus on him 100%. If you pull Sephiroth here, 100% focus on him, because you can actually take him down his Grand Marshal route and then just replace your Varg, honestly, because with his SSR stats and then just with all his abilities, he's better than Varg. And that's everything I say here is my opinion, but with the level of units you can already run, it's kind of pointless to run Sephiroth here as a tank and run Varg as a tank and then try to fit other units into your team there. I feel like that's just a waste of time. Now, if you went my route and you unlocked Altmuller, you unlocked Sephiroth's Dragon Master here, and you did not unlock his Grand Marshal state, then yes, as a Dragon Master, then go ahead and work on your Varg and have Varg be your tank and Seph just be pretty much your flying DPS damage dealer. So that's another setup you can run there. Oh, and then there is one more kind of tank, which is Bernhardt, but like I said, he's like Elwyn, where he's not really considered a tank. So, because I know you can go his Brave route. Okay, so no, he is considered a tank. So you have to go over this man too. So Bernhardt is considered a tank for the Empire Honors team. Now, he's kind of awkward because he actually becomes a red tank. So no, he does not change over to green, which is actually really cool and brings a little bit more to the table here. Now, to make him a tank though, you do have to go all the way to Brave, which does kind of suck, but I mean, it's still something. It takes physical attack instead for nearby friendly units when attacked, blah 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 blah. And he gets heavy shield, and heavy shield is amazing all the time. So running those two together, and then maybe his fusion power if you wanted to, or rupture if you wanted to. I know a lot of people run shield bash, then they'll run parry, and then they'll run heavy shield, and that'll make him his purish tankish route, which is a very strong route to go to. So if you wanted to, so yeah, makes a very solid tank himself, and he's a red, so very different tank style to the table, because most tanks are green. So it's pretty nice seeing him as a different output there. Now, so who would I choose as my tank for the Empire Honors team? It would have to be Sephiroth Altmuller, just because you can make him a flying tank, and just being able to skate around the entire board, just fly across the board and tank shots for people is absolutely amazing, and he can dish out some good damage. But do not count Varg and Bernhardt out, because they are very, very close to first place too. So extremely close. All right, so next on the table is going to be DPS. All right, so for DPS, I'm honestly going to say that you probably have the hardest hitters in the game in here. With the exception, you're missing just one unit, which will be Sherry. But when it comes to physical damage dealers, yes, you have the hardest hitters in the game in the Empire Honors team. So we're gonna start right off the rip with the boy Leon. Now, you hear it all the time. The game is called Langrisser, just because you see Leon skate around the board all the time. He is a very powerful unit, and he deserves that top spot. Has the strongest unit in the game and the highest DPS. I'm just gonna say immediately. I'm gonna say it immediately. If you have Leon, start building the man. He is going to be your DPS dealer for the Empire Honors team. You cannot go wrong with Leon. And on top of that, yes, he is a blue, so he's weak against greens, but throw on the angels, and then you got yourself a good DPS dealer still. He's not going to do as much damage to the greens, but with the angels, he'll make up for that loss of power there, so pretty good. So immediately, Leon just takes first place. I'm gonna mention the others, but Leon is first place without a doubt there. Okay, so for the other DPS dealers, technically Bernhardt, Elwyn, Sephiroth, Varna, Behind's kind of like a support, but we're gonna go physical DPS dealer. So Varna is considered physical because her archer shots are considered physical damage. Sonya, I don't know about this guy. Lance, I know one. And then Mage. Tisha, I think she's also a physical DPS dealer. We'll take a look at her too. And the others here, which I'm not really going to go over the R's because then the video will be way too long. So we're just going to skip past the R's. But if any of the R's are really good, guys, just comment down below and let me know, and I will gladly take a look at them. Because if you guys, I did make mention, I am going to be building up all of my units, and they're all going to be getting to level 60, even the R's, so that way I can take on events at level 60 with the lower ranks too. But besides that, so let's start from the top here. So Leon definitely takes the top spot. He's just very powerful. His abilities are extremely powerful. Chivalry goes a long way because he can technically heal himself and continue to move. On top of that, if you don't want to run his fusion power, you can change off his fusion power and run 1,000 hooves, which is extremely strong. 1.7 times damage and decreases enemies' mobility. So he can actually hit somebody, run away, and the enemy won't be able to chase them. So he'll be able to kite for a little bit, which is amazing. So not only that, but he hits normal attacks. He can actually hit a normal attack and then move away. So after every hit he does, he moves another 3 blocks after. So Leon is fantastic at the hit and run, which he just brings to the table and is extremely strong. So next unit would be Elwyn. Actually, we'll do Seth here. Now Seth, the route I took him is straight to the Dragon Master. And I feel like if you build him on the attack, he can dish out some seriously good damage to you, especially once his Supreme Overlord talent has been procced off for that total of 3 times. Because once it has that 3 times, he's going to have a 9% attack increase. And also he's going to take 6% less damage. So very, very good. And definitely a strong unit there for the DPS team here. Then you got Elwyn. If you take Elwyn straight down the hero path, you can go Grand Marshal and unlock a few little buffs here, but that kind of makes him to kind of tank a little bit more. But the hero path, he just brings a lot to the table because he has self-sustainability, being able to carry his own fusion power, being able to take a couple shots, but being able to heal, right? So I did just get him to 4-star this morning actually, and then when attacking, damage increases by 15%. After battle, there's a 45% chance now to restore HP, and that's 30% of heroes damage dealt, and that's going to increase once I get him even more up to that 6-star rate. It's going to be crazy. So pretty much after every single attack, this guy's going to be healing up, and it's going to be a 30% of his damage, which is a lot. So Elwyn, very strong candidate in the DPS department here. Let's go on to the next unit here. We'll do Bernhardt. Now Bernhardt is another one, but Bernhardt is more like a tankish support unit. I don't ever really see him dish out a lot of damage. And I know one of you guys is going to comment down below and say otherwise, but from my standpoint, I just don't see it. I feel like he's just a really good support unit. When entering battle, damage increases by 10%. So he does do some damage, but all enemies within 2 blocks have attack and defense decreased by 5%. So just putting him in the fight to deal a little bit of damage, and then have your Leon, Elwyn, or Sephiroth just come in and just obliterate them. I feel like that's the point of your boy Bernhardt here. It's just to really absorb that damage and stuff like that, not dish out too much. So definitely on the lower spectrum of the DPS dealers. Next on the table will be Sonya. I feel like she's a very strong candidate. Now you're going to see mine has no gear because every time I run Sonya, I do not run my Leon just because I feel like she is the female Leon. So what I do is I actually take all my Leon's gear and throw it on Sonya, and she becomes an absolute powerhouse. So running her on the Princess Fusion Power team is extremely solid. The only reason why I didn't do it yesterday is just because she's only level 45 and I did not have the resources to get her all the way up to 50. So yeah, that was a little bit of an issue, but she's extremely strong. And if you do not have Leon, I highly recommend you build her up. You won't regret it. I actually had to class her up so I can get this move here. And she has access to really strong soldiers, right? So I have the Bone Rhinos on, but I'm definitely gonna be putting on the Heaven's Guard just because I've been training up my Heaven's Guard a little bit more here. So, and I feel like they have that kind of Leon effect here. When you move, the more you move, the more attack you're gonna do. So yeah, Heaven's Guard is definitely the way to go, and you're gonna keep the mobility. So if you do not have Leon, build your Sonya. You will not regret it. But if you do have Leon, unfortunately, unless you want to really focus on Princess Fusion Power, even then Leon carries his own fusion power buff. So yeah, so if you have Leon, it's almost like you can skip over Sonya, unfortunately. So, and next on the list is Varna. Now Varna just got her buff, so she's a little bit stronger now. I'm not gonna say crazy strong. I don't really like these moves a lot, if I'm being honest with you guys. Endure, when entering battle, defense increases by 7%. I don't really care about that. 7% is like okay. And then Wind Whisper, I've never been a fan of Wind Whisper. The damage it does is absolutely shitty. But the debuffs on the target I think is really good. So if you are using her as a support, then she is a phenomenal support unit. So because that debuff each target goes a long way. So when it comes to DPS, she's not going to be your DPS dealer unless you run her as that ranger. If you run her as a ranger, yeah, goodbye to all the flyers in the sky, because she is going to snipe them down like a rock. Anyways, who else do we got here? And I believe I know we got Ermi here and Lance here, which are really good units too, but I'm not really going to make mention over them. You guys can comment below and let me know if those two units are even worth mentioning. And then let's go into the mages here. So for the mages, you got 2, 3, and I believe that's it. Oh yeah, and Anna, 4. Okay. So for the mages, we're gonna combine mages and healers here. Let's go to Hein first. Actually, no, let's go to Amilda first, because she's definitely number 1. Alright, so I forgot to mention, for number 1 on my list for DPS will be Leon, and number 2 would be a tie between Elwyn and Sephiroth, if I'm being real with you guys. Alright, that's if you have SSRs. If you have SRs, then I feel like number 1 is easily going to Sonya, just because for the Empire Honors team, she beats everybody else when it comes to physical damage. So Sonya takes number 1 spot in the SR category. Alright, so number 1 as my mage would definitely have to go to Amilda. Alright, she just brings so much to the freaking table as an SR. It's amazing, and I mean amazing. She can be your healer, she can be your mage DPS dealer, she can be a nice little support. Alright, so there's just a lot of things she can do. And one thing I do have to say about her, unfortunately, she's a crazy rune hog. If you do want to bring out her mass heals, then what you're going to have to do is take her to the queen route to pick up mass heal, and then take her all the way to the oracle route to pick up regenerate. And even if you want to pick up a little strip here, dispel, you can pick that up too. On top of that, dispel is really good because it restores HP while stripping off any debuffs on your friendly units. So she's a very powerful healer slash very powerful DPS dealer, because you can go Thunderstorm, you got Blizzard here, and then I believe she has an ice move here. Yeah, she gets Free Strike here, so she can be a very strong mage too. So she's definitely without a doubt number 1 spot for mage on the team, slash healer. She takes both spots as mage and healer on the team there. Number 2 would be tied between Hein and Egghead. I know a lot of people don't like Egghead because of how he looks. I'm in agreement with that. I really don't like how Egghead looks. Now Hein here, as you can see, I didn't work on him, but Hein is a very good unit too. Now the problem with Hein is that he is mainly focused on kind of support role. Yeah, he does have some damage dealing moves here, and if you build him up very strong, he's gonna dish out some good damage for you. But the problem is his kit is mainly built upon support. Because the route you want to take him is, if you got your Hein, you want to take him straight to the Archmage route just to get teleport. Teleport is the main key move to finish off those missions where you need to just kill the boss. Then you have Hein in there to have him teleport one of your units, and then boom, you could just finish that target off extremely fast. And then like I said, he has some good DPS damage dealing moves, so if you do build him in that route, he can do some serious work for you. But I feel like Amilda is just a bit better. I feel like you can really build Hein in that support fashion. But he can be a very strong mage, so do not count him out. Do not count this guy out at all. And then after taking action, it increases by 2%. Last 4 turns, it can be stacked up to 4 times. So initially, after a few turns of him moving around the board, he will become really strong and can do some serious damage. So you gotta watch out for that. And then you got Egghead here. Now Egghead is solid too. I see a lot of people say he's an AoE person, AoE / support unit. And I feel like that's where his kit really shines, because he has one route, which is the Dark Master, and Forget is obviously a support move, attacks multiple enemies, dealing 0.3 times damage, disables all enemies' passive skills. Very solid support move. And then he gets Death here, attacks multiple enemies within range, dealing 0.2 times damage, 50% chance to silence the enemy for 1 turn. Right, so another support move there. So, and then he gets little side moves here too, which are not too bad, but you definitely want to take him down the Dark Master route. He gets Dark Reaper, which is going to be his damage dealing, single target damage dealing move, and it's going to restore his HP. So very strong there. So he's a really good damage dealer. But like I said, if I had to choose, if I was going to run 2 mages on my Empire Honors team, it would have to be, depending on what I'm fighting, it would definitely be Amilda. She automatically takes the spot. And then it would be between Egghead and Hein, right? Just because I feel like if I need to kill one target and one target only, Hein is definitely taking that spot. But if I need to kind of dish out damage against multiple people, Egghead, if built in the manner, then yes. Or Hein, if built in his AoE manner, then yes. So they're definitely tied for that second spot there. Anyways, guys, so I'm not gonna do a showcase just yet, because I'm gonna do the showcase in another video, because this one was already long enough. But my current Empire Honors team will look something like this. It would be let me go into a mission and show you what my team will look like. And I'm not gonna do the mission, I'm just gonna show you guys, so I'll be right back. Alright, so this would be the team that I would traditionally go with. Obviously, if I need kind of a double supports, then I would easily throw Liana, TRs, Sophia, Chris, anybody in that second spot next to the girl Amilda, just because I will have that double heal / double support. And depending on what I'm fighting, I could change that too. For instance, if I was fighting, if I just needed to kill our boy Anarchy here, Valen, then what I would do is I'd probably throw Hein in here and just have him teleport Leon or our alts here and just get across the board as fast as possible to try to take down the targets. Now in this case, now as you can see, I am running Bernhardt here. Bernhardt would be my fusion power buffer, because I am going against greens here, so that would power up my Elwyn to do a little bit more damage. And then I might switch over Leon's people here for probably berserkers, so that way he can dish out more damage on these greens too. So that would be my current build, more or less. Obviously I could change things here, but I feel like this is a very solid team here. Now me personally, I really like to run TRs or Liana in this spot here, because I do like my double heals or double supports, just because when you have a split mission like this, where you have to go one path and the other path, then one healer can follow one side and the other healer can follow the other side. So this becomes very powerful here. And depending on the healer that you run, you know, if you're running somebody like Amilda here, she can just also deal out damage too. So I can actually take her with Leon and go this way. She'll deal out some good damage while supporting Leon, and then take my others this way. So little team composition there. Like I said, I'm not going to do a mission because this video is already long enough. But anyways, guys, if you are building your Empire Honors team in any other way, please comment down below and let me know. And remember, guys, stay positive. Peace out.